Welcome back. This is step one, brainstorming ideas to writing stand-up comedy. My name is Walt Frazier. This is my online stand-up comedy writing course. This is right out of what I teach at my comedy camps in Times Square, with my classes in Times Square weekly, usually Saturday mornings for kids and teens at the Broadway Comedy Club. And more, I'm bringing these programs to my residencies at New York City schools and beyond. We have teachers out there. I have a whole bunch of teachers out there that teach comedy. Our main thing is improv comedy. We are an improv comedy troupe out of Times Square that performs off Broadway, and we perform at schools, at colleges, at corporate events. But more and more, we've been doing the stand-up comedy routine, and I have so many students. When I've created this, if you're watching this years from now, created this program while being stuck home with the coronavirus. Not me personally, but the whole world is shut down right now. And I have hundreds of students out there with nothing to do. So I'm using this as a way to introduce my stand up comedy curriculum to improv students that haven't had this. If you've been to my comedy camps, been to my classes, you've gotten most of this in one form or another. However, if you're watching this, you're one of my students that have been with me for years, many of you don't do these steps like you should every time, right? You come into that first day of class, I've got ideas, but you didn't go through the brainstorm process. You're so focused on trying to be funny on day one that I think you miss a lot of the brainstorming process. So this is what I want you to do. If you're brand new, or even if you've been with me for years, pretend you've never done this before. Start with a clean slate, and this is going to be step one, brainstorming ideas. I have this simple little sheet, and if you are watch this on YouTube, I'll put a link to a blank copy of this worksheet down in the description of the video. If you're on Instagram or other places watching this, DM me, email me, 8improv@gmail.com, EIGHTIMPROV@gmail.com, or go to NewYorkImprovTheater.com, Improv for Kids, ImprovForTeens.org, WaltFrazier.com, 8improv.biz. We have a lot of different websites because we cater to a lot of different people, and each of those websites kind of have different purposes. But yeah, send me a message. I'll send you links to all my study guides. And it's a real simple, it literally is just a list. What you see here is just a prompt. Comics on a Sunday or Monday will sit down at a diner with a piece of paper, sometimes with a cocktail napkin. Sometimes they have a journal. If you ever hang out at the comedy club, you come in like on a Tuesday morning and they had an open mic or a showcase the day before, you might find notebooks, because comics leave these things everywhere. I don't want to steal people's material, but I could, because there's just books and books and books left behind over the years of comics that have their notes, and they write down their notes, and then we'll go through that process. But so this is just a way to prompt, and I this is geared towards kids and students. Literally, when you want to do stand-up comedy, just start by making a list of things you might want to talk about. And let's talk about brainstorming real quick. When I talk about brainstorming, I just want you to literally, I apologize if it grosses you out, but I literally want you to vomit ideas onto the page. Anything that pops into the head, put it on the page. Anything that pops in the idea, spit it out. If you're working with a team of writers, you got to get out of your head. If you're someone else is talking and you can't talk in that moment, write it down, because those ideas come and go so quick. So many amazing ideas have come and gone that I didn't write down. I always say keep a journal next to your bed while you're sleeping, because if you have a dream, write it down. That could become a movie someday. If you have anything, if you have, I don't know if in my last video I said you had homework, right? Your homework is to observe your world. When you're on the subway, when you're at school, when you're at home, on vacation, and we're going to go into that a little more down here in this list. Observe your world, open your eyes, get off your computers, get off your devices, because everything you need to become a stand-up comedian is right out those doors, right outside those doors. You walk from here half a mile and back. You're going to see something in that moment that most of the time most people ignore because it's everyday stuff, it's mundane stuff. But a comic sees everyday mundane stuff and says, what can I do with that? And then if you start to notice patterns, you start to see those kinds of things happening. You know, you'll be at home, you'll be at school, you'll notice your teacher and your parents and your uncles and different people have certain things that they all do, or a lot of them do. right? A lot of times the best stand-up comedy is out there just talking about what you know, because what you know, everybody knows in their own way. And we'll go into that as we go into future lessons. But right now we're going to talk about brainstorming, vomit ideas. On this list of paper, on this piece of paper, is just some things, prompts to get your mind working. And literally, I just say, write down something that happened at home. Right now, if you're doing this at home and you don't have this piece of paper, or even if you have this piece of paper, get a piece of paper, pause this real quick, come right back, get a composition book, get a journal, just get something, write down something that happened at home, right? Something that happened with your parents, with your brother, your sister. If you are a parent, something happened with your kids. What's something that happened that made you mad, that made you sad, that made you angry, that made you excited, made you happy? Anything that inspired an emotional response of any kind that made me think like, ha ha, ooh, ooh, right? Comedy is your place to vent all that, but just vent it out. My list here, I actually did this work myself just to kind of have an idea. My thing here was farting in my sleep. We're stuck at home, and I've been eating a lot of foods. I'm on a diet. I've been losing weight. I haven't lost weight because I haven't done a lot of exercise, stuck in the house lately. But these foods are making me, and my wife will wake me up saying, "You just woke me up with your farts." And then I will say, well, I'm going to go into this part. So actually, let me stick to the list right now. I'm getting ahead of myself. But I'll tell you what this means later. Farting in my sleep. And I did it right now, but I want to add to my list. But next thing on the list here is list something that happened at school. List something that happened at school. And I didn't write it down, but just had the thought of, I was actually last Friday, my last day of teaching before everything getting shut down, as I was signing at the security desk. I signed my name, and I have to go up the steps to go to the office and sign up in there as a teaching artist. I'm in the building, and I hear one of the security guards, one of the young ladies, kind of, "What's going on?" And then so I was going up the steps. "What's going on?" I'm not doing it right now. It's better then. Like whatever that scat that they do in that song, right? And from downstairs, all right, right? So, blah, blah, blah. Again, I'm just going to tell you. So, no more beans. Something that happened in a store or a mall. That's what the no more beans is. I was at Walmart shopping, and all the beans were gone. All the Goya stuff was gone. No toilet paper, of course. No hand sanitizer, right? Nothing's gone. So there's people, stuff I can talk about that. Something that happened on the subway. I haven't been on a subway or bus in a while. Since this all started, I started driving to work and not taking the bus into the city. But what's something you live in New York City, or if you don't take the bus to work or take the school bus to school, something happened on a bus, on a subway, in a public setting where everybody's cramped and it's probably not as clean as it should be. God help us in this time, right? Let's say something happened on a family vacation. I listed I was swimming with manatees, and I got two separate stories that kind of relate to that. What happened on a family vacation? What happened in the car on the way to the family vacation? What happened at the airport? What happened on the train? What happened at the hotel? What happened when the luggage got lost, right? All those things that could have happened on a family vacation. What happened when somebody started to get a little tired and started to get a little snippy and got a little silly, got a little self-focused, right? And started complaining and whining about everything. Or was that you, right? All that stuff. List something that happened in the news. What's going on in politics? There's so much to talk about. It's always weird to talk about tragedy, right? I don't make jokes about 9/11. I don't make jokes about the Holocaust. Some people do. There's only been like 2 jokes about the Holocaust in my 40 years of watching comedy. Dates myself a little bit, but almost 50 years on this planet, a few years short of that. But I've seen 2 jokes that were, haha. The other ones were just like, no, stay away. Right? But otherwise, stay away from like obvious people are dying. But otherwise, there's a lot of stuff about the coronavirus, just how the government's handling it, like, to be really topical. But what's going on in the news? What's going on in local news? What's going on in sports news? Sports scandals, pop culture scandals, usually safer, right? It's usually just people doing silly, stupid things, self-conceited things to talk about. Don't necessarily think about what's going to be funny. Just if something comes to your mind while I'm talking, write it down, right? Just write it down. And then just in general, what annoys you? What annoys you more than anything else? Me, partisan politics. I don't care if you're left or right. It drives me nuts. What makes you angry? Food that makes me fat makes me angry. And the fact I'm surrounded by it, right? I'm surrounded by things. I'm watching commercials all day long from fast food and chain restaurants with even their salads are $1,500. Okay, I'm going on. What makes you sad? People fighting makes me sad, right? Go down through all the emotions. All right. So what I want you to do is, if you need to pause the video right now and just write down some things. And if you can, write 2 or 3 things down for each thing. Not a whole sentence. I used a marker because that's all I could find to write with right now. I need to go buy some pens. I do everything in my phone now. Just write a few things down. Just jot a few things down. Okay? Pause, do that, and then come back. All right? And we're back. If you didn't pause, sorry for the weird delay. Now what I want you to do, if you're in a classroom or you're in a situation, if you have friends hanging around the house, your brothers and sisters, mom and dad, if the dogs, whatever. Now I literally want you to just get up on stage or get up in your living room or in the backyard or at a classroom, wherever you can kind of call your mini comedy club right now and pretend it's an open mic. And now we're going to do exactly what a comedian does at an open mic. And you'll just read the list. You'll just go right down the list and expand a couple of things. I could tell the farting on my sleep story. I just did that. You go into Walmart or at school. The seconds go right down the list. I was swimming with manatees in Florida. I visited my parents and my brother and sister all went down. It was their 50th anniversary, my mother's 71st anniversary. I was swimming with manatees. I don't have anything funny yet. Although in that same water, about a few years later, I learned that I could sink a kayak, and I took a kayak to go into this spring called the Three Sisters off the Crystal River in Florida, and I ended up sinking that kayak. And I'm just going to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it until something comes up, and just go down the list. And let's say you have 2 minutes. In comedy, at some point, they're going to give you what's called the red light. Somebody will hold up a cell phone in the back of the room. They'll flip on the red light. That means your set is over. Just talk. When you see that signal, finish that story and get off stage. And that's your time. Okay? And then the second you get off stage, go back and say, okay, I like this. I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna develop this. And our next exercise, you'll find out what to do with that a little bit. I'm gonna take one of these stories and just develop that a little bit, or maybe 2 or 3 of these stories and develop. What do I do with that material? Or I might say, you know what? No more beans at the store. It's kind of funny, haha, but it's like, everyone's talking about it. It's already been done. It's already been TikTok memes. The toilet paper, person trying to pretend they're a drug dealer with the toilet paper is already huge on TikTok. So I'm going to skip that, but, and it's not really connected with me. It's something that happened, blah, blah, blah. So just go down your list. It's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Don't edit. When you're brainstorming, vomit. Sorry, it's gross, I know. Just get the ideas out there. And then when you get off the stage, now it's time to be a little objective before we go on to the next stage, go to the next step. What are we going to take from that moment? Right? Don't just sit down and write a comedy routine. Say things out loud and see what connects. And that's how you develop a really nice conversational stand-up comedy routine. And we'll talk about more of that in the next exercise. So again, step 1, just brainstorm ideas, vomit out the ideas, make your list, don't edit, don't judge, don't try to be funny, just do the list, and then get on stage and share those ideas with an audience. Hopefully there's at least 2 or 3 people in front of you. Open mics, sometimes that's all you get anyway, right? As a beginning comic, just get up there, and then based on that feedback of the audience reaction, not their opinions that they want to give you, oh honey, that was great. No, based on their feedback in the moment, if you can, set up your camera and videotape your set and go through that video and what worked, what didn't work. And that's when you edit. That's when you but in an objective way. I always say tear the material apart, not yourself. Don't beat yourself up, right? Don't beat yourself up. Analyze the work in a very objective way, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. Not that you are good, bad, or ugly. It's that moment. You had good moments, bad moments, and moments that should never be done again. Learn from your successes. Learn from your mistakes, repeat your successes, and you're going to do great. See you soon.